evening, everybody. We begin today's session now. So this is the first question. Here, what you're asked is, a family of four, grandfather, father, son, and daughter, are caught in a heavy rain and are stranded at a bus stop close to their home. So all this family, they are stranded at a bus stop, which is closer to their home. So this is the bus stop, and this is their home. They are the grandfather, the father, the son, and the daughter. However, they only have one umbrella, which can take a maximum of 2 people without either of them getting wet. So in one umbrella, only 2 people can fit together. They just have one umbrella with them. The 4 members of the family take different times to walk from bus stop to home. The father is slowest of all. Sorry, the grandfather is slowest of all. The grandfather takes 10 minutes. So grandfather takes 10 minutes. The father takes 5 minutes. The son takes 2 minutes. While the daughter takes only 1 minute. What is the minimum? We have to find the minimum total time for all 4 members to reach home without any of them getting wet. We know at a time only 2 people can go together, all right? So this is the first scenario where all of them are at the bus stop and they have to go to home. So in the first step, what they will do is, how we'll solve it? We have to find the minimum time. When we have to find the minimum time that is required, okay? So first, what will happen is, this is the bus stop. This is the home. First, the grandfather and father will still be at the bus stop, and the daughter and the son, they go to home and they take about 2 minutes. Because the son takes 2 minutes and daughter takes 1 minute, we'll count total time for the daughter and the son to reach home to be 2 minutes. So here the daughter and the son will reach home. After this, in the next step, the father and the grandfather are still at the bus stop. The son will stay at home and the daughter will go back to the bus stop in 1 minute. So like I said, from the daughter will go to the bus stop in 1 minute and the son will stay at home. This is the second step. In the third step, now at the bus stop, we have the father, the grandfather, and the daughter. So in the third step, the daughter will stay at the bus stop and the father and the grandfather will go to the home. They will take a total of 10 minutes. Why 10 minutes? Because the grandfather takes the maximum time, which is 10 minutes. And since the father and the grandfather are together, the total time taken for them to reach from bus stop to home will be 10 minutes. So by this time, the son, the father, and the grandfather are at home. In the fourth step, the daughter will still be at the bus stop. She does not have the umbrella. The son, the father and the grandfather will stay here at home. And the son, who is the fastest of them all, he will go to the bus stop to get the daughter with him. So he will take about 2 minutes to reach on the way back. So in this phase, the son and the daughter are both at the bus stop and the father and the grandfather are at home. In the fifth and the final stage, what will happen is the son and the daughter who are at the bus stop, they will share the umbrella and then they will go home together in 2 minutes time frame, thus getting all the 4 family members, the daughter, the son, the father, and the grandfather together at home. Thus, the total time taken by all of them will be 2 from first phase step, 1 minute from second step, 10 minutes from third step, 2 minutes from fourth step and 2 minutes from the fifth step, adding up to a total of 17 minutes. Here you're given 6 cards. Each of the cards have a number on one side and a letter on the other side. What is the minimum? The minimum number of cards you can flip to see in order to make sure that this rule, cards that have vowels on one side always have even numbers on the other side. In order, what is the minimum number of flips we need in order to prove this? Now, if you observe from a numerical point of view, there are 6 cards. So if we are flipping one card, which makes it a percentage, which means the probability or the percentage of getting it to be true will be 1/6, which is approximately equal to 0.166 something something. So that is actually almost 0.6, almost 16%, I would say, which is very less. If it were a 2/6, sorry, a 2/6 probability, 2/6 possibility where 2 cards would be flipped in order to find whether the statement is true, the percentage that the statement is true will be 1/3, which is 33.333 something, recurring number. So even this is a less probability because it's less than 40%. When you are flipping it 3/6, which is 1/2, which is 50%, which means that I have flipped at least 50% of the population, 50% of the cards that are given. In that case, and still the statement is valid, in that case, I can accept it to be true. So from the numerical point of view, I would say at least minimum number 3 should be flipped instead of 2. So I would say probable answer would be 3. Now we will look at the other case also, where do we get 3 as an answer or do we get 4 as an answer? We'll just check for that possibility. In that other case, we are going to take the statement itself. Cards that are vowels on one side always have an even number on the other side. Vowel on one side, even number on the other side is what is given. Now from that statement, I can bring out 2 rules. Rule A to be, I'm not worried about vowels, non-vowels. Not worried about non-vowels. Why? Because I don't care if non-vowels have a number, have an even or an odd number on the backside, but because I have to prove that vowel should have an even number on the back. The second rule, which can be derived, which is a rule B, which can be derived from the statement, is the flip side of it. Even numbers should have vowels is also I'm not worried about. Why? Because in this case, if I flip an even number and if there is an regular number, a regular alphabet and not a vowel behind it, then the statement would turn false. Or the statement would be like, I mean, you know, the flip side of it is possible that, look, there's an even number that you have flipped. Now, it does not have a vowel, which means that if I just flip the other part of it and keep it here, the statement holds false. So we are also not going to touch the even numbers. From the rule A, what I'm deriving is I'm not interested in non-vowels. Which are the non-vowels here? M and R. So I'm not going to take up M, I'm not going to take up R. Why? Because they are non-vowels. If I flip them, and if there's an even number or even something else behind it, I'm not interested, not I'm worried about it also. The next rule, even numbers ke piche there has to be vowels, is also not true, and I'm not worried about it. Also, it gives me it puts me in a jeopardy if that comes to, if that happens to be the flip side of it, where even numbers has a regular alphabet about it. So it may also question the validity of this statement. So I won't be flipping any even numbers. The even numbers that are there in the card is 8, so I'm not going to flip 8 also. The left around numbers 3, 7, E, they won't hurt me if I flip them. Also, I had found out from the numerical point of view, I found out that if I have a good standing, if I'm going to flip three numbers, if I'm going to flip three cards. Because I cannot flip 2, 4 is possible, but here after negating M, 8 and R, I've already been left with 3 numbers. So in order for the statement to be true, I will be flipping 3, 7 and E, out of which E is a vowel, jiske piche there will be an even number, and 3 and 7 will be flipping just to prove the validity, the case that out of the 6, we have flipped 3, which means the statement has to be true, which means 50% of the card, although are flipped, the statement still holds true. That's why we are going to flip a minimum of 3 cards here. X1 is a 3D form generated from the shape X using certain 3D operations. This X1, X is the base shape, and from there, after some 3D operation, X1 is generated. It has 14 surfaces in total, which is given, just 14 surfaces. If the same operation where this is extruded and connected and crossed over are carried out on shape Y, how many surfaces would this have? It means it's just a simple matter of crossing that over. In this case, what I'm interested in, like if you see X or X1, this shape, this surface, which I'm drawing, is continuous surface. In this case, I'm more interested in finding how many continuous surface will be there. Also, the bottom part of that surface, which I've highlighted, this surface will also be a continuous surface. It will be one surface of the bottom. So I will first try to find out how many continuous surface will Y generate. Now, when I draw the intersection of all of these together, when they are extruded, it will somewhat look like this. This curved wall, curved shape, which is here, will actually come and hit this angular surface like this, leaving some space below here. What it means is, and likewise on the other side also, we get that same possibility like this, where there will be some space which is left behind at the bottom, which means this whole surface is continuous surface. Also, this surface is a continuous surface. One continuous surface here and another continuous surface here. All right. So in both of these cases, when I have a diagonal like this, sorry, not diagonal, a square like this, sorry. Yeah. When I have a square surface like this and another square surface like this, what it means is this surface and this surface, this will be a continuous surface 1, this will be a continuous surface 2. This will also be a continuous surface 1 and this will be a continuous surface 2. This surface and this surface will be joined together and this surface and this surface will be joined together. And this surface and this surface, they will remain independent. So this is 2 continuous surfaces. So the number of surfaces that will be formed in figure Y will be 2 continuous surface plus 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4 surfaces, different surfaces at the bottom, plus, now this is going to be this part which I have drawn of the curve. This is going to be independent surface. So 1, 2, 3, 3 independent surfaces on one side and 3 independent surfaces on the other side, plus 4 surfaces of the bottom. When you add all of them together, the answer that comes is 16. In 2018, a person spends half the time working, third in sleeping, 1/8 in cooking. He spent the rest in exercising. How many total hours did he spend in exercising is what you have to find. Now, first we should check whether 2018 is a leap year or not. When you divide 2018 by 4, we get 4.5, which means it's not a leap year. The number of days in 2018 will be 365 days. If I assume that to be X, I'm saying a 365 days is X. Okay, I don't want to get into calculation yet. That's why. So in total number of days in which is X will be equal to half X by 2 on working plus X by 3 on sleeping plus X by 8 on cooking plus A is the time spent on exercising. So A will be equal to X minus X by 2 plus X by 3 plus X by 8. This will be equal to 12x, sorry, X minus 12x plus 8x plus 3x upon 24, which will be equal to X minus 23x by 24, which is equal to X by 24. This is days. I have to find hours. So therefore, hours spent exercising will be equal to 24. One day has 24 hours. So 24 into X by 24, which is X. X ka value we know, which is 365 hours. So the answer is 365. Here you are given a shape Z. It is a tile that is laid on this grid without any overlaps. What is the minimum number of units that will be left uncovered? Flips and rotations are allowed in this case. You can flip, you can rotate, you just have to find the number of units that are left uncovered when I cover this tile across. When I repeat this tile, I can flip it, I can rotate this tile to cover this grid which is provided. So this is how it goes. This is my first tile. This is my second tile. This is my third tile. This is my fifth tile. After this, I'm just going to fit in the tiles around like this. So here will be my sixth tile. My seventh tile. Eighth tile. My last tile, which is the ninth one. This is how all the tiles will be fitted together. After this, the number of boxes which are left uncovered are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 boxes or units that are left uncovered. Which of the option will collapse completely? In this case, if you observe these kind of toys that are there available in the market, or if they are available with you, what you will notice is when this joinery, this joinery is extremely critical, this module. When this module becomes something like this, where there is one member in one direction, like this, completely. And then the connection between them happens here. What it means is there is a member here laid like this, and then the connection happens at the bottom of that member. Like this. The connection happens at the bottom of that member. So if you have a junction like this in any of the options, that is actually a valid one. For instance, if you observe this junction and this junction, it's one member, but one here it's above, here it's going below. In A also, here it's going above, here it's going below. We are not looking at these kind of junctions. So A and C are wrong. Versus if you look at B and D, it's the same situation, one member, and then the connectors happen at the bottom, here and here. D also, one member, the connector happens on the bottom. So B and D are correct in this case, and A and C are wrong. Here you're given two views of the same solid object. You have to find how many options is or are the view of the same object. So very simple. One or more option is correct, which means here, it's more easier in these kind of questions to take one path and then compare it across the options instead of looking at the 3D and visualizing it in each of the case. So the first part that I'm going to take is this part. This one, cylinder. This cylinder happens here, the thickness is fine here, thickness is fine, thickness is fine. Here it's where the problem lies. Also, when I compare all the options below, that D in option D, that weird cylindrical part happens very differently amongst all the other options. So here D is wrong. A, B, and C are correct. Which of the option is or are the correct according to the pigment color theory? According to this theory, if you observe, A and B are very similar, except for in B, this shade tint of purple is wrong. B is wrong, A is correct. Between C and D, C has one primary color and other two secondary colors in the middle. Versus D has all the secondary colors happening in the middle. So D is correct and C is wrong. So the correct answer is A and D. This is a brief color wheel explanation that I've provided here. This is how the tints and shades of purple, red, orange, yellow, green, blue looks like. And like I said, yellow, blue, and red are the primary colors versus purple, orange, and green are the secondary colors. So either of them can stay in the middle in the color wheel situation. Which option represents the solid shown below? Here, what you have provided here is a solid, a 3D solid, and you have to find the view of that solid. If you observe very carefully in these kind of questions, it's very difficult to go from compare options and then check whether or not the 3D is fine. Sorry, whether or not the option is fine compared to the 3D. So what we are going to do is we are first going to compare all the options together. Between A, B, C, and D, there's a clear difference seen here. A, B, C are fine, but between all three and D, there's a difference here. This D has 3 steps, C has 4, B has 4, and A has also 4 steps. If you look at the question figure or the 3D, it has 4 steps, so D is wrong. Between A, B, and C, when you compare them, when you go from top to bottom, this is the part where A is different than B and C. So I will just check how is that part happening. There's a C happening here, then there's one end, and then there's another, and then this is an elevation. So clearly A is also wrong here. Between B and C, when I compare both of them together, there is this part which is different between B and C. In the question figure, it happens here, that part, which means that that part has to be half shaded and half in light, which is seen in option C and not in B. So C is the correct answer. We'll end today's session with this. Thank you so much.